Welcome back. We have a fascinating developing legal situation, and for more on that story and the details, getting some details, we'd like to check with our own Eileen. Eileen?
Many of you may have been following the breaking story out of Reading, Pennsylvania. And this morning we have invited our legal correspondent, Dan Huot, to join us and try to shed some light on this situation. So Dan, tell us, what is going on at the United Way of Berks County in Reading, Pennsylvania?
Good morning, Eileen. This is a fascinating workers' compensation claim. The AP reported last week that one of the LCSs was injured while preparing company pledge card packets.
Injured? How? What happened?
Well, one of the LCSs claims to have received a paper cut while on the job and is therefore no longer able to perform his function as an LCS.
I want justice!
That is some dramatic videotape. We did invite a representative from the United Way to appear with us this morning, but they declined. Instead, they released this statement to us. The United Way of Berks County takes very seriously the guidelines for workplace safety. We select only the finest paper with smooth edges so as to avoid any injuries to our employees and LCSs. While we regret this incident, we feel this cut was not caused by our paper.
Eileen, I've read the statement, and we can certainly see the United Way is putting up a strong front here, and they certainly don't appear to be giving in easily.
Do we have any idea of what kind of paper was involved?
That's a terrific question, and those are facts that are sure to come out as the situation unfolds. I know the rumors surrounding the incident make clear that the paper stock, while being used, was not supposed to be folded by hand. The only paper the LCSs were to fold was high-quality, glossy text. If this is true, it opens up a whole new can of worms. I'm sure the United Way will call paper experts to speak on this issue.
Well, I'm sure that there will be much more to come about this story. Thanks, Dan, for coming and sharing your insightful perspective.
Thank you, Eileen. We will be keeping a closer eye on this situation as it builds.
Thanks, Jason. It was a great interview. Dan did a great job.
Wonderful. On a lighter note, though, now we check in with some special correspondents to learn what's trending in the latest in food and fashion.
It's time for the Blue Room, where we examine what's trending in United Way culture. Coming up, we've got Chris on fashion, Elizabeth on social media, and Angel on food. But first, let's take a look at where the loan campaign specialists are sleeping this year. As you all know, the LCSs work around the clock, and sometimes 7 days a week during campaign. That means naps are a must, and this year's LCS class has found some new and interesting places to doze. We found Carl catching a cat nap on the couch at the Abraham Lincoln Hotel. Liz has learned to sleep standing up. That's quite an accomplishment. And finally, we have Rich curled up in a booth at Willoughby's. What do you think of that, Chris?
Hey, when you're working around the clock, you sleep when you can. But let's talk about fashion for a moment. When you're in LCS, your style choices are dictated by your audience. When you're speaking to professionals such as accountants, lawyers, bankers, you gotta go with the suit and tie. In an office where business casual is the norm, skip the jacket. And in a manufacturing facility, you can be a lot more casual.
You wore a bow tie to a manufacturing facility?
A bow tie is appropriate anywhere for any occasion. When you wear a bow tie on the beach, and people are going to notice you.
I don't know what to say about that, but I do know what to say about food. Tasty Cakes and Apple Dapple Cake were big hits, but the biggest trend in the LCS food this year is definitely Swedish fish. They've gone through at least 5 of these bags.
Who can resist a bag of Swedish fish?
Not me.
Share, please. And speaking of sharing, let's take a look at what's trending on social media when it comes to the loan campaign specialist. On Facebook, Scott Cass is talking about seeking compensation in his landmark paper cut case, while attorney and campaign co-chair Dan Huot is giving his take on Scott's paper cut. We'll hear more about that later. And on Twitter, the top hashtags today are hashtag UWBerksCampaign, hashtag DidWeMakeGoal, and hashtag Woohoo.
And that's what's happening in the Blue Room today. Back to you, Eileen and Jason.
It's been a busy and stressful campaign season. All that stress is built. Let's check in with lifestyle reporter Allie Moore to see her tips on relieving some of that campaign stress.
Thanks, Jason. Desiree and I have a surefire way to beat the stress of campaign. I'm here with Tammy White, Jean Morrow, Carl, and Aphrodite. You all know a little bit about stress, don't you?
Do we ever? Yeah.
You know, it's not easy to raise $9.45 million.
It sure doesn't help when the campaign staff is asking you for updates.
Where do we stand on this company? Have you talked to that company? Where are the numbers? They're relentless.
Well, it is important to know where we stand. Obviously, we all need some stress relief. Allie, take us through it!
We're gonna dance.
What? No, we're not gonna dance.
It's easy. Just follow us.
Okay.
No, we're not.
Because you know I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass.
See, it's easy. Let's take it from the top.
Because you know I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, because you know I'm all about that bass.
We're gonna need an ambulance. Back to you guys.
I am not going to even attempt any of those moves. Well, that's it for tonight. That's all for the broadcast. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you again at the victory event. Good night.